threads are connecting.
We must accelerate the timeline.
Are the leaders in agreement?
Chapter 1. Introduction. What is the world government? The mainstream perception of the world is sculpted daily by billions of images, facts, and voices. Most people have grown accustomed to the swirling data streams, treating world events as mere background noise to daily life. But beneath this surface, a lingering question stays with those bold or curious enough to challenge what they see. What powers truly control the events unfolding on the global stage? Throughout history, civilizations have quickly developed myths and legends explaining forces beyond ordinary understanding. Ancient Egyptians believed in gods overseeing the Nile's flooding. Greeks consulted oracles. Romans revered Senate decrees as divine. Yet underneath the glorified structure of religious or governmental authority, suspicions grew. Was there someone or something quietly pulling the strings behind the scenes? The concept of a world government isn't merely a staple of modern conspiracy. It emerged from centuries of uncertainty and the persistent human desire to explain the inexplicable. Every time major global events defied common sense, wars, plagues, economic crashes, synchronized treaties, countless thinkers and ordinary people alike began searching for unified explanations. Sometimes their answers manifested as shadowy cabals with limitless power, shaping destinies from hidden chambers. This belief isn't just rooted in paranoia or science fiction. Real historical events have stoked the fire. When the global financial system collapses overnight, or when distant nations unite on policies seemingly without warning, few find comfort in official explanations. It is easier, and at times more rational, to imagine an organized elite at work, steering humanity according to secret agendas and centuries-old plans. The stereotype of a world government is both cinematic and chilling. Its members are never seen but always felt. Their motives are obscured behind diplomatic smiles and charitable gestures. Every major institution, from renowned universities to entertainment conglomerates, is suspected of being under invisible influence. News cycles are shaped to distract and direct. Technology is deployed to monitor and catalog. And even the flow of money seems part of an elaborate, unseen dance. Why does this perception endure? The answer lies partly in how society processes uncertainty. The more interconnected our world becomes, through the internet, through trade, through migration, the harder it becomes to trace direct causes and effects. A single tweet can trigger a revolution, and rumors can move markets faster than regulations can keep up. For many, such chaos becomes unbearable unless they believe that someone is in control. The myth of the world government provides a sense of logic, even if that logic is sinister. Analyzing the fascination further reveals a combination of justified skepticism and psychological need. Trust in public institutions has waned. Repeated scandals and unkept promises erode faith. As new evidence emerges, secret meetings, leaked documents, digital surveillance, even skeptics can't help but wonder if the truth is being deliberately hidden. The idea becomes appealing not just as a story, but as a defense mechanism, a buffer against randomness and disorder. Visual cues reinforce these stories. Illuminated pyramids on banknotes, cryptic Latin phrases on government seals, and coordinated media coverage when world leaders gather in private. Even popular culture plays into the narrative with films and novels blurring fact and fiction, equipping viewers with just enough detail to believe it could be real. A well-tuned world government narrative is both frightening and seductive, offering answers where history has left only questions and providing meaning where randomness reigns. Its alleged members are described as timeless, passing power from one generation to the next, always transforming yet always unchanged in their overarching mission. But with every new theory, with every revelation, one wonders, is it truly possible for such an extensive network to operate undetected for millennia? Do the impossibly rich and powerful really sit together nightly, carving up the future in secret? Or does the idea reflect our own anxieties about control, about the unknown, about the urge to reveal the forbidden? This is the arena where legend blends with reality. And as we step deeper, the line between revelation and illusion becomes more precarious than ever. The real question is not only does the world government exist, but why do so many desperately want it to? Chapter 2. The Historical Roots of Secret Power. To understand the mythos surrounding the concept of the world government, one must journey across centuries, tracing the shadowy footprint left by secret societies and elite cults. The idea of invisible rulers pulling the strings is anything but new. Its roots run deep into the earliest civilizations, reflected in oral traditions, cryptic manuscripts, and coded rituals. Imagine the ancient world, Egypt's priest-kings, Babylon's magi, and the enigmatic oracles of Greece. These weren't only spiritual leaders, they wielded real, tangible influence over politics, economics, and the fate of empires. Behind temple walls in labyrinthine corridors, knowledge was gathered and guarded. Special ceremonies determined the outcome of wars, the appointment of monarchs, and even the legitimacy of laws. Power was never truly public. It was mediated through obscure hierarchies and guarded allegiances. Fast forward to Rome, where the Senate and emperors projected authority, but many believed the augurs and inner circles of advisors governed the destiny of the state. Whispered rumors claimed that the fate of millions rested on the interpretation of omens, birds in the sky, thunder on the horizon, cryptic arrangements of bones. Analysis of these secret rituals reveals the enduring human need to believe in hidden order behind chaos. As Christianity and Islam spread, new layers of secrecy emerged. The Knights Templar became legendary not just for their battles, but for their supposed hoard of concealed knowledge, including supposed contacts with Eastern mystics and custodians of forbidden texts. Later, the Rosicrucians and Freemasons would inherit the mantle of speculation, building networks that stretched beyond borders and even centuries. Their influence was felt everywhere, from the design of city streets to the symbols embedded in cathedrals and government halls. But what made these societies so compelling in the public imagination? Experts suggest it's the mix of exclusivity, ritual, and the tantalizing promise of forbidden wisdom. Initiates were sworn to secrecy upon penalty of death, their ceremonies cloaked in esoteric languages and cryptic gestures. Outsiders, hungry for answers, interpreted every detail as part of a sinister conspiracy. Why gather at midnight? Why carry ancient symbols? Why keep so many secrets? This narrative only intensified as European monarchies consolidated power. Royal courts teemed with spies, double agents, and shadow envoys. Artists embedded secret codes in paintings for patrons who demanded discretion. Architects slipped encrypted messages into the arches and pillars of palaces and fortresses. Scholars and diplomats corresponded in ciphers, aware that the true exchange of ideas always occurred out of public view. Centuries later, with the Enlightenment and the dawn of capitalism, the web grew denser. Illuminati, Bilderberg Group, and even modern financial elites adopted structures that mirrored those legendary secret orders. Their meetings became events of global curiosity and suspicion, even when nothing more than a dinner was held in a quiet hotel lobby. The persistence of these rumors exposes the tension between transparency and centralized authority, and the way myth and truth can intermingle. Analyzing this historical arc, one notices recurring patterns. Power always gravitates toward the concealed, not the visible. Rebellion almost always originates behind closed doors, not in the squares. The most consequential deals, alliances, peace treaties, betrayals, are arranged in silent backrooms, never shouted from podiums or broadcast to the masses. Today's fascination with secret rulers is amplified by the internet. Ancient societies once protected their secrets for centuries. Now, coded references are dissected and debated in real time. Pages from forbidden books are shared and analyzed. Satellite images trace the paths of supposed clandestine meetings. And the more we see, the more we suspect is hidden. But beneath all these legends is a simple, persistent truth. Humans are both deeply communal and chronically distrustful. Social order exists only if most believe they're included in decision-making. Yet history shows that true influence remains the privilege of a select few. Those who know, those who keep silent, those who hold the keys to the vaults and archives of ages. The story of secret societies is the story of civilization itself, of what is told and what is concealed, of unity and division, of codes and chaos. When seen in this light, the idea of a world government is not just a conspiracy theory. It's a retelling of our collective history. The search for structure, for hidden meaning, for the ultimate source of control. Chapter 3. Methods and Influence. How the world government rules. Understanding the alleged methods of the world government means learning how power manifests where eyes cannot see, where decisions are encoded in layers of distraction and denial. Over centuries, the most persistent rumor is that true influence is never wielded openly. Instead, it is diffused, hidden, and orchestrated through countless intermediaries, disguised as the workings of chance, market forces, or the inevitable progress of history. Imagine a chessboard that stretches across continents. Each piece represents something different: a multinational corporation, a regulatory agency, an influential celebrity, or a viral movement on social media. Many pieces believe they move of their own accord, making independent choices. But above this field, invisible hands set new rules, shaping alliances and clearing paths for chosen pawns. A favorite method attributed to these hidden rulers is the use of cascading crises. Throughout history, the world has periodically been shaken by sudden economic collapses. The financial crash of 1929, the oil shocks of the 1970s, the global meltdown of 2008. In pop culture and conspiracy lore, such events are rarely random. They are viewed as strategic opportunities, carefully timed to redistribute resources, wealth, power, even hope itself. Those attuned to the signs notice how, as soon as institutions fall, new policies, new leaders, and new forms of surveillance are ready and waiting to take center stage. Modern propaganda is no longer blunt. News stories, entertainment content, and even supposedly grassroots initiatives can be co-opted and manipulated to reinforce global agendas. Sometimes, an entire narrative is manufactured. A trend rises from obscurity, becomes omnipresent, and then quietly disappears, leaving behind only subtle shifts in opinion or regulation. Media conglomerates controlling thousands of channels and platforms are rumored to synchronize their messages, creating a sense of global consensus where none truly exists. Another domain where these hidden powers are believed to reign: technology. The rapid spread of surveillance systems, ubiquitous smartphones, and predictive algorithms has created a world where every action can be tracked, analyzed, and, if deemed necessary, redirected. Voices can be silenced at the click of a button. Contradictory stories about privacy and freedom of speech often serve as theater, distracting the masses from the deeper reality that all roads of communication travel through the same narrow gates. The manipulation of public figures is an art in itself. Some politicians and celebrities are lifted to prominence seemingly overnight, their personal quirks and statements miraculously aligning with the covert agendas of larger interests. Sometimes they know what role they play, sometimes they are only useful because they attract and polarize attention. The moment a star begins to think independently or threatens to reveal what lies behind the curtain, scandals erupt or opportunities dry up. It's not execution, but exile, forgotten by the herd, replaced by the next trending personality. At the heart of these fears is the idea of engineered chaos. When riots break out before elections, when pandemics shift the world order, or when extremist movements destabilize fragile peace, whispers spread. Who benefits? Who is ready to offer solutions so quickly? Never let a good crisis go to waste, goes the infamous maxim. A phrase adopted not by shadowy cabals, but by politicians on the record. Global charities and NGOs, trusted by many as defenders of justice and progress, often become running themes in these theories. Are they truly independent, or are their best intentions subverted as convenient fronts for deeper objectives? One quick signature, a grant, or a celebrity visit, and entire regions can be steered along a new, preferred trajectory. Financial systems, arguably the ultimate lever of control, are seen as a realm where the world government's mastery is absolute. Who controls the rating agencies, the currency exchanges, the secretive banking networks? Every economic crash or overnight transfer of billions can be traced in the minds of theorists to silent boardrooms filled with a handful of enigmatic figures. But the greatest trick of all is not to hide evidence, but to create so much noise, confusion, and spectacle that truth becomes indistinguishable from fiction. Flood the world with data, half-truths, clever distractions, enticing revelations, and the pursuit of real answers dissolves in exhaustion. Analytically, these are the points where skepticism must balance with reason. While history teaches that power is often abused and surveillance is a real danger, not every stumble is the result of invisible masters. Many genuine victories for individual rights and open discourse have come precisely when the public pierced the veil and demanded accountability. Yet as each generation wakes up, another layer of complexity is built, tempting some to believe the systems of manipulation are infinitely renewable. And so the cycle persists. Secrecy breeds speculation. Speculation provokes investigation. And when the answers prove unsatisfying, the legend of a world government, forever shifting form, grows stronger than ever. Chapter 4. The Present Day and Future Scenarios. If the tale of shadowy governance once belonged to dusty tomes and the secretive chatter of candlelit rooms, today it's front-page news, viral video, and trending hashtag. Never before has humanity enjoyed so much access to information, and never before have people felt so unsure who, if anyone, actually controls the world's fate. Modern international organizations stand as monuments to both progress and suspicion. The United Nations, with its grand halls and peacekeeping missions, is trusted by some as humanity's last defense against chaos, while others view it as a tool for agenda-setting elites. Annual summits like the World Economic Forum in Davos or the secretive Bilderberg Group roundtables become magnets for speculation, even as their official statements promise nothing more than dialogue and cooperation. In this swirl of suspicion and ceremony, the line between powerful gathering and clandestine council blurs. But globalization, the defining feature of recent decades, is a double-edged sword. The world economy is more integrated than ever, meaning a crisis in one country can ignite a global firestorm. This interconnectedness both empowers and endangers the architects of hidden power. On one hand, new digital tools, artificial intelligence, instant surveillance networks, real-time data analytics, give governments and corporations remarkable abilities to monitor, predict, and shape behavior. On the other, these very tools create unprecedented vulnerabilities. A single whistleblower, a hack, or a stray video can unravel even the tightest plans. Pandemics, economic meltdowns, cyber attacks, and environmental threats are the crisis theater of our time. For many, each global emergency seems to play into the hands of an invisible committee. Draconian legislation, sweeping surveillance measures, and the consolidation of wealth among a shrinking elite are justified, not as design, but as necessity. Yet, public outcry, activism, and decentralized technologies routinely disrupt even the most carefully laid blueprints. The internet, so often maligned as a tool of deception, also empowers truth seekers and whistleblowers who pierce the veils of secrecy. Looking forward, speculation abounds over how the supposed world government might adapt to new realities. Some envision an oppressive dystopia, digital currencies issued by global banks, biometric data used to control travel and employment, AI systems predicting and preempting dissent before it ever manifests. In this bleak vision, privacy becomes a relic, and any challenge to authority is quickly neutralized by invisible gatekeepers. Others take a more optimistic view. They argue that exposure and sheer complexity will eventually break up old alliances. Open source information, blockchain technologies, and citizen journalism are cited as the antivirus to authoritarian centralization. Grassroots movements, fueled by social platforms and real-world networks, have the power to topple even the best hidden elites if enough ordinary people stay vigilant and organized. Yet as the world transforms, one thing remains constant: ambiguity. Certain policies are made public, others decided in private. Some leaders welcome scrutiny, others thrive on obfuscation. Each advance in transparency generates an equally sophisticated method of secrecy. It's a technological arms race, a never-ending cycle of revelation and concealment. And there is no end in sight. For every revelation about secret lobbying, for every new leak of governmental or corporate wrongdoing, there emerges another layer of encrypted messaging, shell companies, offshore accounts, systems dedicated to keeping the levers of influence shrouded from public view. Even when secrecy is exposed, the sheer scale of global information can make real accountability as elusive as ever. Critically, the world government legend now acts almost as a mirror, reflecting collective anxieties and unspoken hopes. The idea makes sense of uncertainty and complexity, offering a story in which someone, anyone, is charting a course, even if in darkness. It's not just the details of official meetings or back-channel deals, it's the emotional need for certainty, for the comfort of grand narratives and a clear central villain. As we move into an unpredictable future, the real question may not be whether a world government exists, but whether humanity will ever outgrow the habit of creating forces, both imaginary and real, to explain what feels inexplicable. For in the end, the myth of the hidden ruler is both shield and sword, defense against chaos and perhaps its very cause. Chapter 5. The Unbroken Thread. Throughout the ages, the image of an invisible force ruling the world from the shadows has proven not just resilient, but adaptable beyond measure. It morphs with the times, absorbing new crises, new technologies, and new faces, retaining its grip on popular imagination. Some stories lose their power as civilizations progress. The legend of the world government, however, becomes only more intricate, more persuasive, and more important to deconstruct as years advance. This is more than a simple tale of good versus evil, of schemers pitted against the innocent masses. It's a sophisticated myth woven from the very fabric of how institutions work and how people relate to authority and each other. The specter of a hidden elite provides an explanation for our anxieties and frustrations. When the world becomes too complex, when official answers seem inadequate, people turn to grand conspiracies to restore a sense of order, even if that order is terrifying. Psychologically, there's a comfort in believing in deliberate design, in thinking that nothing is truly accidental, that someone must be responsible. If times are hard, if systems fail, it's easier to blame shadowy rulers than admit to a world governed by randomness, incompetence, or impersonal forces. This doesn't mean there are never abuses of power. History is full of genuine conspiracies and secretive acts. But the overwhelming desire for pattern can lead people to see connection where none may exist. Culturally, the narrative endures because it is deeply flexible. Every era, every country, every generation has its own version. Medieval monarchs blamed whispering advisors. Early democracies saw secret societies behind every defeat. And today's digital age suspects corporations and deep states. In each case, the story is adjusted to match the enemies and anxieties of the moment. The same legend that once painted priests or alchemists as villains now morphs to target data miners, hedge fund managers, and tech billionaires. On a philosophical level, the enduring idea of a hidden order speaks to a more fundamental question. How much of life is truly in our control? Are the shape and pace of world events mostly guided by a hidden few, by faceless systems, or are they the result of collective action, chaos, and chance? Paradoxically, belief in a world government can be both disempowering and motivating. It might dissuade participation, breeding hopelessness, but it can also fire up activism, investigation, and demand for accountability. Real change throughout history has rarely been achieved by the passive or the frightened. The same instinct that invents legends of hidden rulers also sparks revolutions when real abuses are uncovered. When the Panama Papers exploded into the world's consciousness, when whistleblowers released secrets once thought untouchable, society saw the balance tip, even if only briefly. The myth, then, is not only a story of constraint, it is also a story of hope. That truth eventually leaks, that secrecy is never perfect, that the cycle of exposure, denial, and reform never truly ends. Importantly, the endless search for a master hand also mirrors our own limitations. When flooded with information, people crave simple answers. It is tempting to believe that world-shaking events require world-shaking causes. But history shows countless pivotal changes start small, with the whispers, with activists, with the regular people who dare to ask difficult questions and refuse comforting lies. The myth of world government is thus both a warning against apathy and a challenge to vigilance. In the digital era, the struggle between transparency and secrecy is more dramatic than ever. Advanced encryption, anonymized networks, and decentralized movements have democratized both knowledge and deception. For every journalist exposing corruption, another troll army or fake news factory springs up to muddy the waters. Consensus has become a rare commodity, and truth itself a fiercely contested landscape. Amid all this, the legend of a hidden world government will continue its transformation. It will be shaped by each new event, by every scandal, every unexplained tragedy, every technological leap forward. It will inspire new art, fuel alternative research, and drive millions to both righteous action and wild paranoia. But if there is an ultimate insight, perhaps it is this: the measure of a free society is not the absence of secrecy, but the ever-renewed effort toward accountability, dialogue, and collective participation. The greatest threat is not the secret itself, but complacency, the surrender to the seductive logic of helplessness. For the legend of the world government, in all its forms, is only as powerful as the willingness of people to believe in it without question or to abdicate their own agency in the face of complexity. In this sense, the real unbroken thread is not a secret council room in some distant palace, but the fragile, often tested, always renewable hope that people, despite generations of myth and misinformation, can ask, can challenge, and ultimately can change the world.